Don't miss the 3-hour celebration of episode 300 of WDW News Tonight, live at 9 p.m. on February 27th on WDWNT TV. This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks all around the world. But here now the news for February 21st, 2025. Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort may soon switch to a flexible pricing model with ticket prices fluctuating based on demand, not just the date of the ticket. This type of dynamic pricing debuted at Disneyland Paris last year. And according to WDW Magic sources, Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort will be switching to this pricing model soon. Walt Disney World switched to date-based ticket pricing back in October of 2018, and in December of 2022, they introduced park-specific pricing for one-day tickets. The new model would refine this even further, with pricing will change based on guest demand. This means pricing for a specific date and park could go up as more guests buy tickets, even changing on the actual date instead of being fixed ahead of time. We don't know when this pricing model will be rolled out at the U.S. theme parks, but again, it is highly likely at this time. I think the best comparison is airlines, right? When airline tickets change every day based on demand, and this would be a similar thing. And this is for the entire industry, the entertainment industry as a whole, location-based entertainment, whether it's sporting events, Broadway shows, whatever, everything uses this, and every Ticketmaster thing ever. Not that Ticketmaster should be celebrated in any way, shape, or form, but this is pretty common. It's to be expected, I think, at this point, but it would mean you have to probably, look every day and be like, all right, maybe we should buy those tickets now. And maybe not wait. The same way you treat airline ticket purchases, probably the way you're going to have to treat your Disney ticket purchases moving forward. Lightning Lane Premier Pass has sold out again for all 4 Walt Disney World theme parks for today, Friday, February 21st. Lightning Lane Premier Pass is completely unavailable for the day at all 4 of the Walt Disney World theme parks. The pass recently sold out at all 4 parks last Saturday, February 15th, which marked the first time that all 4 were sold out this year. When going to purchase the Lightning Lane Premier Pass on the My Disney Experience app, that date will be grayed out if it's unavailable with a slash through the date. Both Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios Lightning Lane Premier Pass are already sold out for Saturday, February 22nd as well. Of course, Lightning Lane Premier Pass allows guests one-time access to every Lightning Lane attraction at a single park. Guests do not need to schedule return windows for attractions like they would for multi-pass or individual Lightning Lane, and instead can experience each attraction on their own desired time frame. Of course, if you want to see this in action, we do have a video review of both Walt Disney World and Disneyland's process right here on the channel. 26 years after the ride opened, Disney has replaced the old film projectors in the tunnel scene of Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin with modern digital projectors. This is crazy. In December, Disney filed a permit to install the new projectors at the ride. The climactic tunnel scene has never looked so good, with Emperor Zurg's ship and the celestial objects standing out against the blackness of space. It's hard to show through photos, but you're watching video now. The image is definitely brighter and crisper than it's ever been. I tend to disagree with our writer, that I think it's very noticeable in video because that projector was so old. For those that don't know, the speed tunnel that has been a part of that attraction actually goes back all the way to 1972. Now, I don't think this particular projector was from 1972, but that scene goes back to 1972. And if you had WIGS, which was the attraction sponsored by Eastern Airlines, and then later when Delta came in and it became Dreamflight, they kept the super speed tunnel again. And the imagery was updated. And then when Buzz Lightyear came in 1998, they simply updated the film once more. But again, it's still, we tend to believe that projector was still from at least Delta Dreamflight. So it was more than 26 years old, we think, and still using film. It was one of the last film projectors at Walt Disney World. Still standing, though, is Walt Disney One Man's Dream. Hard to believe that's still film. And you could tell because when you go in there, it's deteriorating very quickly and it looks awful. But it's nice to see this. It took way too long, but it's nice to see this happening. And up next, we got a little more positive maintenance news in Tomorrowland. The robot dog at Space Mountain in the Magic Kingdom, aka Nipper, the RCA dog, is moving again for the first time in several years. Guests exiting Space Mountain will once again see the dog wagging its tail, excited to see all of its new friends. The head and ears also used to move, but have not been fixed. The dog sits in a rocky vignette next to a screen billboard advertising the Crater Caverns, one of the fictional space destinations in the exit queue. He's not far from a spaceship, implying that he's arrived at the caverns via that spaceship. The animatronic dog, and at least the character it's based on, have a history going back to the 1880s. It's based on a real mixed-breed dog named Nipper, first owned by Mark Henry Barroud. After Barroud passed, his brother Francis Barroud took in the dog, and Francis immortalized Nipper 3 years after the dog passed in the 1898 painting, His Master's Voice, which depicts Nipper listening intently to a gramophone. The painting was adopted as the logo of RCA Records. RCA was the original sponsor of Space Mountain when the coaster opened in 1975. As such, Disney created an audio animatronic version of Nipper listening to said gramophone, which appeared inside a UFO at the entrance of the ride. In the 1980s, Disney removed the exterior of the animatronic that made it look like a real dog and relocated it to a scene in the Space Mountain exit. Now depicted as a robot dog, Nipper sat at the feet of a robot tourist, but in 2009, Nipper was relocated again to his current home. As far as we know, he has not moved since that time. The effect was repaired shortly again after the 50th anniversary of Space Mountain, which just took place back in January. This is really cool to see. This is an actual piece of Walt Disney World history. I love the fact that the dog was kept, like they thought it was cool enough to keep it as a reference even back then, before the age of the internet and before Disney fans were clamoring for Easter eggs. And I mean, the answer might be as simple as, hey, what are we gonna do with the dog? Hey, let's put it somewhere, instead of like throwing it out or using it for parts. What's cool now is 50 years later, this little piece of history still exists in the exit of Space Mountain. And it's nice to see it fixed. Now, I do want to see the ears. What was cute was he was listening to the gramophone, so the ears used to perk up while he was listening to the gramophone. I hope they fix that too. That would be cool. But at the very least, he's alive. The dog, Nipper, is finally once again alive. After having a stroke due to a blood clot in her brain, Erin O'Donnell was determined to learn to walk again so she could walk down Main Street, USA at the Magic Kingdom. O'Donnell shared a compilation video on TikTok of her experience. She wrote in the video's caption, "In 2018, I had a blood clot in my brain and had a stroke. I was paralyzed on the left side and had to relearn to walk again, along with many other things. My family had a Disney vacation planned, and my goal was to be able to walk down Main Street even if I was slow and with a walker. I worked my butt off and surprised my family by taking my first unassisted steps down Main Street in Disney. It was such a magical moment. Here's a compilation of me relearning how to walk until my big moment." Video starts with a screenshot of O'Donnell tweeting on September 2nd of 2018, "I'm going to Walt Disney World in 54 days. My goal is to be able to walk down Main Street even if it's slow and with a walker." And Walt Disney World responded, "We can't wait to see you in a short 54 days when your Disney countdown is up, sending you all the virtual pixie dust." And the rest of the video includes those clips of O'Donnell's physical therapy and walking practice, culminating in, ultimately, her unassisted walking down Main Street, USA, complete with an "I'm celebrating" button reading "Stroke Survivor." This is wonderful. I know I think sometimes, all the time, we get a little lost in the monotony of the fact that we are regular visitors to Disney World. But some of this is that real magic, is somebody setting a goal and like to imagine going through something like that, and to go to this magical place and walk down Main Street towards the castle, your first unassisted steps after going through something so traumatic. That's the magic of Disney parks. And no matter, look, I mean, we could talk about bad management and maintenance and all these things, but there will always be, no matter what happens, that bit of magic about the Disney experience will always exist. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to beourguestvacations.com/WDWNT. Their team will design your next magical vacation, from the Walt Disney World and Disneyland resorts to the Disney Cruise Line to Adventures by Disney and more. They're also able to book unforgettable VIP tours where you and your group can experience the ultimate park day. I will warn you before I read this next part. I know there's a live audience today, and I can see them, and no one's going to scare me today, so we can do this. And as you all know, the best part is their concierge services are 100% free. So book today. I like that everyone even it was a calm one today. They're like, I don't want to startle Tom. I'm going to keep it light and breezy today. Anyway. Disney filed 2 permits for new signage at Spaceship Earth and EPCOT and the Ye Olde Christmas shop at the Magic Kingdom. Both permits contract Design Communications Limited to install signage. Disney also recently contracted the company for signage at the new Magic Kingdom Disney Vacation Club Lounge and Test Track. The Spaceship Earth permit is likely for the new lounge, which will open this year. The Spaceship Earth Lounge replaces the former Siemens Corporate Lounge overlooking World Celebration. It'll feature geometric shapes inspired by the EPCOT icon, rich textures, and warm metallic tones. Disney has called it a zen space for families to gather and enjoy refreshments. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be just families at that bar. The permit for Ye Olde Christmas shop is a bigger mystery, though. The Magic Kingdom Christmas store was refurbished last year, so it's possible new signage will conclude the maintenance project. It's also possible the signage is actually for something else, as the address on the permit of 1424 Magic Kingdom Drive corresponds to the store, but that could just be the closest address to where the sign is going. This could even be for something backstage, but we'll have to watch and wait. Peter Pan and Winnie the Pooh topiaries have been installed in the United Kingdom as Disney prepares for the 2025 EPCOT International Flower and Garden Festival. Topiaries featuring Peter Pan, Captain Hook, and Tick-Tock Croc are in place near World Showcase Lagoon. Captain Hook has an angry face as he raises his hook to the sky and holds his sword in his hand. Peter Pan stands in front of him with a smile, and Tick-Tock Croc has a crazed expression with his mouth wide open, teeth exposed, and tongue hanging out. He appears to be partially immersed in the bed of flowers as his torso and tail stick up as if it's the ocean. Also in the United Kingdom Pavilion are topiaries resembling characters from the 100-Acre Wood. There's Winnie the Pooh wearing his famous red shirt and holding a red balloon. A honey pot sits beside him in the flower bed. Rabbit is next to Pooh holding a handful of carrots. And in the flower bed across from Pooh and Rabbit are Tigger, Eeyore, and Piglet. Other topiaries have been installed around EPCOT recently, including Donald Duck and his nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and of course the return of Phineas and Ferb. The new topiaries of Moana, Maui, Hey Hey, and Pua will debut this year, but are not yet installed at the entrance of EPCOT. The EPCOT International Flower and Garden Festival will begin on March 5th and run through June 2nd. The Chum animated figure located at the Seas with Nemo and Friends attraction is now moving again after being reported broken for months. Chum is one of the animated characters from Finding Nemo, is a member of the fish-friendly shark support group along with Bruce and Anchor. He has a fish hook in his right nostril and has a hyperactive personality. On the EPCOT ride, the Chum animated figure is located inside the hull of a sunken ship right before you pass Bruce and is meant to move in and out of the ship. But since the summer of last year, this effect has not been working and Chum has been stationary. But as of Wednesday, February 19th, the figure is moving once again. It's minimal. It's just a little pop. It used to be more, but children were getting scared, I believe is the story. Because he does come out of the dark, and it is a shark, whether it's a cartoon shark or not. It is a shark popping at you. What's amazing is this was turned off for many years until we used to do a maintenance report pretty regularly. And I don't think they knew he moved, and we put it in the report, and then it was fixed. And it's been working since then, and then suddenly last summer it broke, and I think it's so unnoticeable because it's such a slight movement that no one noticed. But it's nice. Again, so many little maintenance things to talk about this week on the show. It's good to hear. All of the Fossil Fun games in DinoLand USA have seemingly been demolished as the Disney's Animal Kingdom land has turned into the tropical Americas. Though we can't see the entirety of the former Dinorama Carnival space over the walls, no more Fossil Fun games are visible. In our last construction update, we noticed that Comet Crasher had been destroyed, but not Mammoth Marathon. But now, Mammoth Marathon is no longer visible. The games that have been demolished then include all of them, which would be the Whack-A-Pachycephalosaur, the Fossil Fueler, the Mammoth Marathon, the Comet Crasher, and Bronto Score. At the back of Dinorama, crew members were working along the tree line. Crew members are actually outside of the fenced-off construction site. This is roughly part of where the Encanto ride will be. From the boneyard, we only saw a pile of debris and construction materials where the Carnival games used to be. And at the near edge of the construction site, crews have started tearing down the queue of Triceratops Spin. Parts of the shade structure have now been torn off. Demolition of the structure is more evident on the end facing Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures. Theme paneling is gone from this end, revealing the steel framework underneath. Though paneling was removed from Triceratops Spin early during construction, the ride is still mostly intact. An excavator is parked nearby where Dinorama's sign used to be. The Dinosaur Treasures buildings remain intact. That will be staying and rethemed to something else as a new shop. Tire planters even still sit outside the gift shop, and the world's largest pin truck is still parked outside. We imagine they'd want to drive that off at some point, but either way. Dinosaur, Restaurantosaurus, the Trilobites, and Boneyard all remain open in DinoLand. Those are expected to close next year in January. The new Tropical America's Land will feature the fictional village of Pueblo Esperanza, and near the front of the land will be a carousel featuring quote-unquote wood-carved Disney animals. Restaurantosaurus will become a hacienda. The Encanto ride will take guests into the casita on the day Antonio receives his gift of talking to animals. And the ride story will go beyond the movie, but guests will see the characters they know like Mirabel and Bruno. Meanwhile, Dinosaur will be reimagined into an Indiana Jones attraction. The new land will open in 2027. Disney Lakeshore Lodge at Walt Disney World is rumored to have extensive pool offerings, including a lazy river. The new Disney Vacation Club Resort will have both a feature pool and a leisure pool. Feature pool is said to be a standout attraction, including the lazy river. This would be only the second at a Walt Disney World hotel after Disney's Yacht and Beach Club Resort. By the way, quick aside, that wasn't supposed to be a lazy river at the Yacht and Beach Club. I don't know if people know this or not. If you go to Stormalong Bay, off of the lazy river, there's that weird part that juts towards the buildings, which is kind of its own little side pool now. The reasoning for that is originally this was a snorkeling experience with live fish. And they tried it out pre-opening, and unfortunately before they got to opening day, all the fish died. And so they turned it into a lazy river. It was not originally intended to be a lazy river like this will be, either way. The feature pool will also have a splash pad and water slides. It would have a zero-entry design for easy access, and the pool complex would be behind the resort's main building, facing the lake. Disney has yet to confirm the pool offerings for the resort. Disney Lakeshore Lodge replaces Reflections at Disney Lakeside Lodge, even though they're probably essentially the same thing. The latter concept was announced in 2018, and Disney demolished the former water park called River Country to make space next to Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. Construction had barely begun when COVID-19 shut down the project. Reflections was thought to be canceled until Disney filed an extension for the permit in 2023, and construction finally resumed last year, and Disney announced the Disney Lakeshore Lodge soon after. The new resort will be inspired by the majesty of nature and its enduring influence on Disney artists. The concept, again, similar to Reflections, probably about the same, but with a new name and some small differences, I'm sure. The lazy river definitely feels like an homage to River Country, which I think is really cool. Not a fan of these DVC towers and these modern buildings being built in thematic places like Fort Wilderness, but as you know, I've said already, I think the ship has sailed on Fort already. They kind of ruined it when they changed everything up at that section of the resort and the new cabins and all that. It's kind of become a modern resort and lost a lot of its charm. And so all that in preparation for this thing, which, you know, not my favorite, but at least this pool area sounds cool, I guess. Disney has ended the separate queue to see Bakso, the tiger cub, at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Now there's only one line for the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Bakso made his debut on the Jungle Trek on January 29th, and since then there has been high demand to see the tiger cub, as he is the first Sumatran tiger born in Animal Kingdom in 7 years. Guests eager to see the new tiger cub have caused a lengthy extended queue outside the trek and down the walkway near the entrance to Kali River Rapids. Due to the lengthy wait to see the cub, a separate line was created for those wanting to see Bakso. This allowed other guests to enjoy the rest of the trek without the wait. But as of February 19th, there's no longer a separate line to see him. The trek has reverted to just one line, and guests are encouraged to keep moving after getting a peek of the tiger and then circle back through if they want another look. This new process was mostly efficient, and guests were respectful of the new queue operations. This is the way it worked 7 years ago when the 2 other tiger cubs were there, when I went, which I thought was great, that you just meander in and like every couple of minutes the cast member reminds you that, hey, like, you know, other guests are waiting, please move forward. And I think that worked out. I think that worked better than that. I mean, people waited 2 or 3 hours in the line for Bakso, and then sometimes he'd go in. And so you'd wait 2 or 3 hours for nothing. So, you know, I guess that's better than when a ride breaks down because you can at least understand that an animal has free will. But nonetheless, it was, I'm sure, disappointing. Recently, Bakso has been out most of the day until around 3 p.m. He's been very mobile throughout the enclosure, offering guests a greater chance to see him, which is why cast members can move guests through the line more quickly. You can watch our video of Bakso on our website. I want to mention the Carousel of Products at carouselofproducts.com. I've got some stuff here in the drawer, including our Intergalactic Lounge Singer plush. He's still available. Get your pre-orders in now before he's gone. Carouselofproducts.com. We also still have, do I have other stuff in here? Oh, yeah. We still have our Space Mountain 50th Anniversary stress balls from the ball pit, if you will. And also right now, we're doing a bunch of $5 t-shirts. So if you need a cheap t-shirt, it's a good time to grab one. Head on over to carouselofproducts.com. We also have limited supplies remaining of our Tip Top Club button-up shirt. And grab this soon, and then very soon, I don't know if I can even say this yet, but we have 3 new button-up shirts coming very, very soon, and WIGS members will get a first crack at them any day now. So stay tuned. A new Disneyland Resort hotel offer gives Disney Visa card members up to 30% off select stays this spring. Card members could save 30% off on select premium rooms Sunday through Thursday nights from March 23rd to May 15th. Guests can book now through May 12th, and travel must be completed by May 16th, of course, that being the kickoff of Disneyland's 70th anniversary celebration. The offer is valid for Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, where you save up to 30%, the Disneyland Hotel, where you can save up to 25%, and the villas at the Disneyland Hotel, where you save up to 30%. The offer is not valid for standard rooms, select concierge, or signature or premium suites, 2 or 3 bedroom villas, or at the Pixar Place Hotel. Guests must mention the offer when booking and use their Disney Visa card or Disney Rewards redemption card to pay the deposit. The Disney Visa card member must stay in the room as well, and advance reservations are required. The offer cannot be transferred, and the number of rooms allocated for the deal is limited. There's a limit of 2 rooms per reservation. An end date for the Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe refurbishment is now listed on the Disneyland Resort calendar. According to said calendar, the last day of the restaurant being closed will be March 21st. It'll be reopened to guests on March 22nd. Of course, the operating calendar is always subject to change. The Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe closed last month. Scaffolding went up around the facade, and when it's closed, the refreshment corner is open for breakfast from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., offering some of Jolly Holiday's items, including the breakfast croissant. After airing on National Geographic in January, the documentary Magic of Disney Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point is now on Disney+. The Magic of Disney Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point aired on January 17th and was released on Disney+ this week on February 17th. It chronicles the creation of the Disney Cruise Line destination. A new story is unfolding on the Bahamian island of Eleuthera, where locals and Disney Imagineers collaborate on an ambitious mission, create a sun-soaked cruise destination that is also a sustainable celebration of Bahamian culture, prioritizing the local people and wildlife. Trek, dive, and dance with the team bringing Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point to life as opening day approaches. Of course, Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point opened last summer. Located in the Bahamas, it honors local culture with special entertainment and offerings like Rush, a Junkanoo celebration. It's Disney's second private island destination in addition to Castaway Key, has many of the same features like the adults-only Serenity Bay. So check it out. I'm going to watch that this week. I wonder if it includes any of the, we all know there was a rush to finish Lookout Key, and I wonder if any of that's featured in the documentary. I was surprised how much of, if you ever watched the making of the Disney Wish, I was surprised that they even hinted at how bad the process was at the end. Obviously, there are a lot of stories that did not make it into that documentary and were left on the cutting room floor. But I'm curious about how much honesty there is in this particular documentary about how close, how down to the wire it was before they opened that up on that first cruise. Duffy and Friends Play Days will return for its 3rd year at Hong Kong Disneyland. Celebration is running from February 21st through May 7th. Disney shared a preview of this year's offerings. The Hong Kong Disneyland Railroad is being transformed into a Duffy and Friends themed train for the first time. Guests will be whisked away on a magical journey on a train decked out in colorful bunting and confetti. Duffy and friends are depicted via window decals as if they're traveling alongside the guests. And Duffy and friends will also debut new spring costumes. These blue and pink looks are unique to each character, with Duffy wearing a spin on his traditional sailor outfit. And they will wear these at the Castle of Magical Dreams, where the stage will be transformed into a colorful picnic setting for The Joy of Sharing, a show that debuted last year. Guests can also meet them at Duffy and Friends Playhouse or during the Adventure Together celebration moment at Main Street Station. New plush photo spots are also all around Hong Kong Disneyland. These are special seats set up for the guests to take pictures of their plush in, and it'll make it look like Duffy and Friends are riding many attractions. My personal favorite, there's a replica of a Mystic Manor ride vehicle. Super cool. They also have Grizzly Gulch, there's an Adventureland, a Main Street, and a Castle of Magical Dreams photo op as well. A new floral arrangement in Town Square features Duffy in a train conductor outfit, and figurines of Duffy and friends are also on display standing on a train platform with their luggage. And a new Duffy-themed flower bed is at Main Street Station. Sweet treats inspired by Duffy and his friends include the giant ice cream sundae at the Main Street Corner Cafe hosted by Coca-Cola and the double white peach-flavored soft serve at Midtown Delights. Plus, a new Cookie and Train popcorn bucket is available for purchase. Resort hotels will also have special food items like the Duffy and Friends Springtime Afternoon Tea at World of Color Restaurant or the new spring desserts at the Enchanted Garden Restaurant Buffet. The new Duffy and Friends Sweet Springtime Explorations merchandise collection includes keychains, bag charms, headbands, apparel, and more. And Duffy and Friends themed activities at Hong Kong Disneyland Resort hotels include cookie and cake decorating classes, a starlight picnic of treats, and a themed lounge and play experience at the Disney Explorers Lodge where guests can relax with snacks and create a DIY Duffy and Friends travel photo album pack. And later this spring, of course, Tokyo Disney Resort will celebrate 20 years of Duffy with a special anniversary event. It's a big year for Duffy and Friends, and at home you should take a shot every time I say Duffy and Friends. Disneyland Paris announced the opening of La Forêt Secrète par Jean Imbert, a new restaurant at the Disneyland Hotel. La Forêt Secrète par Jean Imbert will open on March 7th. It'll welcome guests from Wednesday through Sunday each week. Imbert is a Michelin star chef who's been a Disney fan since childhood. At La Forêt Secrète, guests will enjoy a culinary experience inspired by Walt Disney Animation Studios films in a magical setting. La Forêt Secrète will be open to all, including guests who aren't visiting the hotel, and also, of course, those staying there too. Reservations are now open and can be made by calling the phone number on our website. I'm not going to read it. It's a foreign phone number, and it's going to confuse everybody. Anyway, for the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to our WIGS members watching who make this show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying, enjoy the rest of your today. Have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.